Presley Colliery, just after dawn. It's about 6:30ish. I set off at 6 this morning. Time is what I want to talk about this morning. 50 years ago, there's no way I could have spoken to you this quietly from this place. It would have been an absolute cacophony of sound. The mine workings there, and the steam engines are clanking, taking the coal out to where it needed to be. Hey, the coal workings. What I'm walking up now was a slag heap, spoil heap, and now over time it's become a nature reserve. Look. How gorgeous is this? I'd say pretty gorgeous. Hey? Tempus Fugit. Time flies. Time flies. It's a saying, isn't it? It's not true, of course. Because time is a constant. It's us that change. Time affects us. There's another thing that's not true. Making time. You can't make time. Time is a constant. But making time is a thing, isn't it? You make time for things. You shift yourself to put yourself in a place where you can be in a certain place with a certain person for or at a certain time. You make time. So yeah, you can't create time, but you can make time. Making time for things. I used to work on the railway. I was a train driver. And we ran. It might be a joke to say we ran on time, but there was a timetable and we were supposed to run to time. And you know what, by and large we did. I know everybody mocks, especially the network South East. And the line I was on mostly was the Uckfield branch, Oxted to Uckfield. And if any of you experienced that in the 80s, especially towards the late 80s, you will know that it was the worst run railway line in Europe, according to a London Evening Standard survey. Around about 1988. Yes, the Uckfield branch, the worst run branch line in the whole of Europe. And yet, it weren't that bad, you know. It was a media perception of us. Most of us tried hard, because if you didn't turn up to work, you didn't get paid. And if your trains didn't run to time, here's a little thing for you non-railway people. If your trains didn't run to time, you couldn't get your little fiddles in. Where one train stopped somewhere where the drivers weren't supposed to change over and the drivers changed over. And you took it in turns to get an hour off home early or a couple of hours off home early. Fiddled the rosters. Of course it wouldn't go on nowadays, that would be an horrible accusation to make and I would not be making it. But I'm allowed to say what I used to do because I can't get done for it now, can I? The bad thing would have been if trains ever crashed or had an incident, somebody would have gone to the wrong house and told their next of kin that their relative had died in a train crash. So, yeah, we took our chances. We seized the day. Carpe diem, another bit of Latin for you. We made time. Time was our friend back then. When you're young, you seem to have all the time in the world, don't you? Okay. There is a saying that life is like a toilet roll. The nearer you get to the end, the faster it spins. And I don't understand the science of it, but it certainly seems to be true that as you get on, as the decades count up, you certainly do seem to be you certainly, sorry, I'm watching ducks flying. You certainly do seem to be, the years take less time to clear off. You see them. Anyway, if you did, you did. Hopefully that it caught them. 2 ducks flying. There's a pond about a couple of 100 yards over that way. Sorry, over that way. So yeah, time. Making time. Making time for things, making time for people. Does it not make sense that you make time? Eh? A light year, you'd think that was time, wouldn't you? Normally. But a light year is not a measure of time at all, it's a measure of distance. You probably all know that. I'm just here streaming out my consciousness. But a light year, as you will know, is the time it takes light to travel 1 year. The distance light travels in 1 year. A light year. So, yeah, time. Everybody has a lifetime. Some lifetimes are very short. I'm here a few hours. A dragonfly lives a day. But it lives its whole life in that day. Right? Those Californian redwood trees live 500 or 600 years, is it? Hundreds of years anyway. And that's one lifetime. For us humans, that would be unthinkable. That would be, what, 8, 9 generations of people? Eh? Great, 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 and so on and so on. Grandson down the line, granddaughter down the line. In the same lifetime as one tree. So time is relative. You know, I've been talking to you now 7 minutes and 18 seconds. And for some of you that'll feel like a lifetime. It's beardy old fart waffling on. Some of you would have switched off 3 or 4 minutes ago. I checked my analytics. But for those that are still hanging on, listening to the ambient bird song, watching the sun rise up there through the trees, what I might say is my most loyal people, eh? Some of you actually make sense out of what I'm saying. Hopefully it makes a bit of sense to somebody. It makes sense to me. So, I'm with go now, there's a man coming down here with about 6 dogs and I don't want to get too close to him. So, I will bid you all good day. Tell you I love you. And ask you all to make time for somebody today. Make a bit of time. Phone that relative. Ask that neighbour if they need a bit of shopping. Make time. Ta-da.